My name's Eden. I'm the Associate Director of Community here at PMD Alliance, and with me is my awesome coworker, Kelly, who is the Manager of Community Education. Also joining us today, we're so lucky you're here, is Eli. She's the Executive Director of the World Parkinson Coalition. If you'd like to just say a little bit about you and your projects today.
Hi, everyone. Welcome as we get started. I see a few familiar faces dialing in from around the world. My name is Eli, and I'm the Executive Director of the World Parkinson Coalition. We are really excited to have this joint activity with our longtime organizational partner, PMD Alliance. And just love, I think those of you who know the World Parkinson Congress and the coalition, you know that we have always supported and encouraged people to engage in creative activities. If you come to the World Parkinson Congress, you'll see we have art exhibits, we have videos going on, we have live music, we have dance, we have a whole choir that performs at the opening ceremony. We believe that creativity is really important to well-being, and whatever kind of creative endeavor you participate in, whether that's writing poetry, like we're here today to talk about, or whether that's dancing or music, we know it's important. And I think there's more actual evidence and research coming out about how engaging in creative activities actually impacts your brain. So it's not just that it's makes you feel good, it's actually doing something in your brain that you might not even realize. So we're really excited to come together with the team at PMD Alliance and our special guest today who's going to walk us through this poetry activity, Ashley. I'm really excited. Ashley, I've never done an online poetry activity before, so this is a first for me. So it's pretty fun. And just so that everyone knows, PMD Alliance has this wonderful space on their website where they collect and capture these I Am poems. But you may not realize what they're also doing is they're sharing the I Am poems with us at the WPC. So we can weave parts of the poems into this massive project we're doing called the Tulip Project. We're taking pictures of people with tulips from all around the world, and we're going to create this beautiful art display at the Congress, paying homage to the famous architect and designer Antoni Gaudi, who's from Barcelona. He does very famous curvy walls with mosaics. It's very famous. He's very well known. And he's inspired us. So we're going to create our own wall of images with both these poems from the I Am poems, the words weaving through the images with the tulips. So for those of you who are coming to Barcelona this year, it's exciting to say this year, it's finally this year, you'll see this wall. It's going to be right in the middle of the exhibit hall. Even for those of you who can't join us, we're really excited to take your poetry and or photographs and weave it into the wall so you can be there with us in spirit, even if you can't be there physically. So I think that's enough from me. I'm going to hand it back over to you, Eden, to get us going. Thanks, everybody.
It is now my absolute pleasure to introduce Ashley. She did work with us here at PMD, so I had the privilege of also calling her one of my awesome, amazing coworkers. She is absolutely delightful. She's probably one of my favorite people, and to me, I feel like when you talk to her, it's just like feeling joy. She's also a poet and a storyteller, and she has written several books. I love a lot of her titles. I always thought I was fire, Your Nature is to Bloom, and At the Threshold. So I am so happy I know I'm not always introducing her because some of you know her, but thank you, Ashley, for joining us today.
Oh, it's my absolute pleasure to be here. And I just have to echo, Eli, what you said, that creativity is important to well-being. I couldn't agree more. As Eden said, I used to work at PMD Alliance. And when I first started working there, everyone used to say, the Parkinson's community has the best people. And I'd hear that over and over again. And now I'm like, oh, it's so true. And I miss this community so much because you all nourished me. So I'm grateful to be back. And so we're going to be talking about this I Am poem that Eli was mentioning before, and we'll do a little writing activity so you can get started on one. And I hope that afterwards you do choose to submit it, and so that it can join a chorus of voices and other stories in Barcelona. I think that'll be really beautiful. So I am going to tell you what the idea behind where an I Am poem came from, and we'll go through some examples, and then we'll get writing. So an I Am poem emerged from the idea that when you are living or loving someone with Parkinson's, that it feel like your world revolves around it. It can feel like it defines you in some way. And so this poem gives you a chance to reflect on all of who you are, where you've come from, the people and the places and the experiences that have shaped you, what you've endured and walked through as a human. This poem allows you to celebrate who you are and your full story, that Parkinson's or movement disorder doesn't define you. And the great thing about this is that you don't have to be a poet. You don't have to ever have written or read poetry or be a writer in order to participate. We're going to give you some simple ways to get started. And because it's a celebration of you, there's really no wrong way that you can do it. So to get us started, I know I love Eden already. We've got some people sharing where they're from in the chat, but I'd like to direct us to the chat once more for a little icebreaker. So since our poem today, our subject is I am, I'm going to ask you in the chat to finish the sentence, and the sentence starts, I am ... and I'd like you to fill in with a word or two describing yourself. So you might say, I am creative, I am curious, I am hopeful, I am whatever it might be that you want to fill in the blank with today. So just to dive right in, I encourage you to go over to the chat. I'll add mine now. So I am ... Go ahead and share how a little bit about you. Enthusiastic, yeah, that's great, Eden. I'm adding that I'm curious. Oh, resilient, that's a great word. Yes, resilient. That's great, Belinda. Thoughtful, curious, and love to dance. Well, I hope you're going to Barcelona, Anna. You can do some dancing there. I have many roles. Yeah, I'm a child of God. I am hopeful. We need some more hope in this world. I am calm, beautiful, sense of peace. Yeah. I'm creative, I am enthusiastic. We've got a few people enthusiastic today. This is good. I'm feeling the energy, Denise. And you know, this is just an example of how simple an I am poem can be. This, you know, you can have a one-line poem that I'm curious, I'm hopeful, I'm faithful, I'm a writer. Oh, we got a writer here. I'm a little bit creative. We welcome all levels of creativity to the workshop today. I'm open to new possibilities. It's beautiful. Well, thank you. And if you have anything else you want to add, both with what this prompt just was now, or throughout the conversation, I guess, the workshop that we're having today, of course, feel free to just put it in the chat, or if you have questions, I'll be checking that out. Daniel's creating, that's beautiful. So what I'm going to do in a moment, I'm going to share my screen, and I have some examples of a few I am poems on there. And I'd like us to read them through a couple of times together and just sort of get a feel for them. We can talk about them, and then we'll go from there. And I'm just looking at Anna Maria, writing in community is a gift, she put in the chat. Yeah, it's so special that we get to share this space together. All right, so I'm going to share my screen. Oh, wait, hold on. I was teasing that I was going to do this wrong. So let me let me get my screen set up first. Okay. Let's see. So do you see that now? I have like a poem. There's lots of words going on right now, and I hope they're okay. This is good. Kelly's giving me the thumbs up. I just wanted to make sure. All right. So do I? Kelly, maybe. Oh wait. It seems to be that when I, sorry, technical difficulties. This is why I should have tested it before. When I hit the play, I seem to lose access of my like mouse.
Oh, interesting. You should be able to maybe use the arrow keys as well on your keyboard to advance the slides.
Right, I can do that. I guess I wanted to see all of your videos more, but that's, we'll go with this.
Okay.
scroll through them, but okay, sorry. Thanks for your patience with my technical struggles here. So the first poem that I have is from someone, Karen, who submitted to PMD Alliance's poem gallery. And therefore her poem will be in Barcelona, woven amongst the tulip garden. And Karen wrote a really beautiful poem, but it was much longer. And I already thought, oh gosh, it's probably hard to read this little font on the screen. So I had to reduce it to excerpts, but I do hope you check out the gallery at some point because it's her full poem is beautiful. So like I said, I'd like us to read it through twice aloud, just so we get a chance to just process it and take it in. Do I have any volunteers? Does anyone want to read? Any brave souls out there who want to give it a try? And again, I can't see. Oh, Eli, are you interested in reading?
I'll give it a try. It doesn't
All
like
right.
seeing it. I might flub it. You want me to read the whole thing or just like a couple of the paragraphs?
If you don't mind going for the whole thing. I know it's long.
Clear my voice here, everyone. All right, this is my first time seeing it. If I flub a word, forgive me, be kind. I am from mud pies mixed in a bucket and jumps through backyard sprinklers. From AM radio playing ABBA, Take a Chance on Me. From Shayna Madeley and from Grandmom Esther's arthritic crooked fingers, detangling bird's nest and knots from my hair. I am from bike rides down a hill. I felt a need to race. From blacktop scraped skin when I fell on my face. I am from broken front teeth. I am from mountaintops. I have climbed to snow-covered hills. I ski raced down from feeling like I'm flying, adrenaline flowing through my veins. I am from boxes packed and carried, then unpacked, from homes I created becoming just houses. To survive, I had to leave. I am from a life to appease, climbing out of a bottomless pit. I am from being thrown to the ground and shoved around. I am from smiling with bruises. I am from the ocean waves that healed me. I am from sand under my feet, water splashing with every step of my now dragging left leg, foot flopping. I am from making a wish on a falling star. I am from pieces put back together into something stronger. I am determination to live life on my terms. I am the love and light from my faith that carries me forward. From my painful body contortions, I never give up, cold feet and hands stiffening, and knives in my back pulling me down. From acceptance of the needles and pills that allow movement, I am unstoppable. I push myself beyond pain to move because it makes me free. I am strong and resilient.
Thank you, Eli. Thank you for taking your time to read that. Like I said, we're going to have a chance to talk about this in a moment. I'm going to read it through one more time just so we get another chance to take it in. What I encourage you to perhaps think about as we read it through one more time is one, just what you like about it. If there's a line that stands out to you, if there's an image that stands out to you, if there's something that resonates with you, or maybe you're someone who likes to take note of where she uses I am and how she uses I am in the poem. But sometimes it could just be as simple as like, oh, I like that one line, that I like that. And again, unfortunately, I'm having technical difficulties. I can't move anything on the screen. So I've had to exit this here, but you can still see my screen, right? It's just not in pretty presentation font, but okay. Otherwise I couldn't read the poem. So we'll discuss in a moment. I'm from mud pies mixed in a bucket and jumps through backyard sprinklers. From AM radio playing ABBA, Take a Chance on Me. From Shayna Madeley and from Grandmom Esther's arthritic crooked fingers, detangling bird's nest knots from my hair. I'm from bike rides down a hill. I felt a need to race. From blacktop scraped skin when I fell on my face. I'm from broken front teeth. I'm from mountaintops I've climbed to snow-covered hills I ski race down, from feeling like I'm flying, adrenaline flowing through my veins. I'm from boxes packed and carried then unpacked, from homes I created becoming just houses. To survive, I had to leave. I'm from a life to appease, climbing out of a bottomless pit. I'm from being thrown to the ground, shoved around. I'm from smiling with bruises. I'm from the ocean waves that healed me. I'm from sand under my feet, water splashing with every step of my now dragging left leg, foot flopping. I'm from making a wish on a falling star. I'm from pieces put back together into something stronger. I'm determination to live my life on my terms. I'm the love and light from my faith that carries me forward. From my painful body contortions, I never give up. Cold feet and hands stiffening and knives in my back pulling me down. From acceptance of the needles and pills that allow movement, I am unstoppable. I push myself beyond pain to move because it makes me free. I am strong and resilient. Just taking a moment to let us take that all in and sort of let it land. I would love to hear, though, when you feel ready, either in the chat or if you can just, we're a small, intimate group today, which is really nice. If you want to just unmute yourself and answer to this. But I would love to know if there's a line that stands out to you. Do you have a favorite line? Do you have a favorite image? How does this poem make you feel? I know there's a bunch of questions, but however you want to respond to that, I would love to hear some shares.
I too was my grandma Shana Maidala, and I was named for my great grandma Esther, and that's actually my Hebrew name. So I immediately felt a kinship when I read that line or when I heard that line.
Me too. I was a Shana Maidala. So when I heard that, I was like, oh, and it comes to, just to point out from the poem, that from like a tradition of Judaism, and so she's from these rituals and these names and things that from her faith that have shaped her. That's something to keep in mind for writing a poem. What else? Does anyone else have a favorite line in there or something that they resonate with? And I'll just say, I'm sorry, I can't see like all of my technical difficulty. I can't see all of your boxes right now. So go ahead and just like unmute yourself if you, oh, and
I thought of, I push myself beyond pain to move because it makes me free.
Yeah, you can relate to that maybe. Sorry, I see in the chat here, we've got new messages. Is this blocking everything? Oh, thank you, Kelly. And I think with that line, how you push yourself, that it takes, someone said earlier, they're resilient. It takes a lot of strength and commitment and determination to keep moving forward through that pain each day. Anyone else have a line that they loved or an image that they loved from the poem?
Ashley, this is Denise. I am unstoppable.
Yes. Well, that's very much like you, Denise. I feel like that's the energy that you take on. You are unstoppable. Yeah. Anyone else? And again, I'm sorry, I'm opening the chat. It's probably blocking the, okay.
I like the feeling, this is Eli. I really, it's a very visual feeling about the first paragraph opening makes me think of even myself as like a 5 or 6 year old in pigtails in my backyard with a bucket and muddy and dirty and just the world being completely free and open. And then you feel like throughout the poem, the aging of the writer, like as she or he, I'm a woman, so I see this as a small, young little girl, because that's how I read it, but it could be easily a young boy or someone else. But I just felt like the growth from being a young child through being older, and it's very visual and really beautifully written.
Yeah, and I think when you say very visual, those simple things of even just naming a song or naming mud pies, like just these little examples, the imagery is what really makes a poem. It's not in there, but like jumping rope, or you can just immediately go back to that. Like Eli said, so many of us have experienced that in our childhoods. And I think there's also, she talks, of course, about her Parkinson's in there, but there's also other challenges and talks about like a relationship that she was in. So it just moves through wishing, this yearning, this wishing upon a fallen star, and also the realities of life that we face, all of these tensions and these challenges along the way. Anyone else have anything they want to share, how this poem made them feel?
I like her play on words. I am from making a wish on a falling star. That's such an image.
Yeah.
Says a lot.
And we can picture it too, right? You can picture the falling star, and it's also something that we've all heard probably also throughout childhood, to make a wish on a falling star. Yeah. Anyone else have anything they want to add about this?
I like the one, I am from the ocean waves that healed me. I am from the sand under my feet. It's very visual. The power of the ocean, the power of the sea, your feet in the sand, your toes sinking into the sand. That's freezing, of course.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No,
there's something very powerful, like invoking the ocean, right? Like everyone hears ocean, and we all have different connections to the ocean, but there's something about the water that you can feel, or the sense of healing that an ocean might have, or having, like you said, walking along the beach and feeling your feet sink into the sand. Yeah, and someone in the chat wrote, having written a poem, a short story, Dreams for Sale. There's a little bit of that energy there too. There's this, like I said, this dreaming quality to it, and also this beauty of like recognizing where I am right now and being unstoppable and resilient and strong. I'm strong and resilient. Nora says, I can feel the knots coming out of my curly hair. Yeah, right? Isn't that such a great line there, where she's talking about her grandma, grandmother Esther, and the arthritic fingers, the detail in there. It wasn't just grandmother, right? Grandmother Esther could have just been like putting her hands in my hair, but it's her arthritic crooked fingers. You can really like get into the detail of it, detangling the bird's nest knots from my hair. And I do want to add, as I'm saying all of that, like Karen is clearly a very good poet and a writer, and she's adding in all these details, but your poem can also be very simple. It doesn't have to be this long. We're going to work on something today that's just a few lines. So you can sort of choose what feels good to you. We will move on. I'll just show you one or two more examples. But before we do, I want to leave any more space if anyone else has more things that they want to say or share about this poem.
Someone else wrote in the chat that they felt her sadness and grief when reading To Survive, I Had to Leave. But I also pictured that imagery of like, I've created a home and now it's just a house. It's not what a home is anymore.
Yeah, and that's what I think, as I was saying before, there's multiple levels of grief and also strength, because I think they have to be sometimes tied together, that our darkness and our light can coexist. And that she even thought when she wanted to, she doesn't blatantly come out and say, I had a relationship that perhaps was abusive, or I might be reading it or projecting into it, but she just talks about boxes, having had to pack boxes and unpack boxes and to carry them herself, like the strength of having to do that. So again, she uses an image, or sort of like a metaphor for what's happening in her life. So yes, I'm so glad the chat, someone pointed that out. And then someone else said her strong sense of faith. And so those are all the things that she comes from. Just to point that out again, she comes from playing as a child. She comes from music. She comes from, when she talks about her grandmother Esther, there are people that we come from who shape us, right? It doesn't have to be a mother or a father, but the people who make us in part who we are. She comes from being an athlete, from skiing down hills and having a sense of adrenaline and adventure. All the homes that she comes from, whether it's her childhood home, her home when she was married, or homes by herself. She comes from this pain and climbing out of it. She comes from the ocean. She comes from making wishes. She comes from the pain that accompanies her Parkinson's. All of these things, they can be literal, like a home or a location or a city that she came from, or they can be more figurative, from the love and the light that she talks about that she comes from, or from pulling pieces back together. So yeah, I love this poem, and I was leading a support group that Karen had started creating this poem in, and then she went off on her own and built it all the way out. But as I think Anna Maria had said at the beginning, what had moved Karen during this was the experience of sharing it in community. That when she got to talk about the ideas for her poem, or just explore this, that doing it together is very nourishing. So again, I'm just grateful that we're all getting to share this together today. So I'm going to jump to, let's see, I'll go to the next one here, and I will make my screen bigger again, even though again, I'm having some technical difficulties, but let's see here. So this is a shorter one. I just want to give you another example of one that's, again, just a few lines. This is from Susan Montanaro, and she also submitted it to the PMD Alliance Gallery. Does anyone want to read this one? Any takers?
Looks like Anna Maria is volunteering.
Oh, perfect. Go for it.
Okay. Hello. Okay. I'm kind and strong. I'm a miracle, a survivor from gypsies of the sea. I am clear sentient and clear cognizant. I wonder what else I will discover. I worry that I will run out of time. I am from a dark life that had a pinhole of light. I always knew I would find the exit door.
Beautiful. Thank you, Anna Maria. I really appreciate you sharing that. I will read it one more time just so we have a second reading of it. But again, take in how it makes you feel, if there's a line that you love, or maybe a line that doesn't make as much sense to you, or an image. Just take note of how you feel. I think poetry is so much in that space of feeling and what's beneath the words. Okay, so one more time. I am kind and strong. I'm a miracle, a survivor. From gypsies of the sea, I'm clairsentient and claircognizant. I wonder what else I will discover. I worry that I will run out of time. I'm from a dark life that had a pinhole of light. I always knew I would find the exit door. I'd love to hear reactions to this. Again, what you love, what you resonate with, what you have questions about.
I love the hope that I always knew I would find the exit door in this dark life. That's beautiful.
Yeah. And again, unfortunately I can't see you all. So I don't have the ability to like click through the boxes to see if anyone's unmuted themselves. So just unmute yourself and go for it, or put something in the chat if you want to add anything.
I also like that line. I wonder what else I will discover. Really possibilities.
Yes, it's full of possibilities, and this openness that life is always full of more revelations and discoveries. And what I find interesting is that she pairs it with that second line. So there's all this possibility that there's so much out there for her. And almost because of the enormity of it, she wonders, will I run out of time? Like there's this sense of urgency to embrace and connect with all of these possibilities. I'm really glad you pointed that out. Anyone else want to share something or react to the poem in any way?
I would like to add that about this line, I am from a dark life that had a pinhole of light. I appreciate that, because sometimes I think we might be sometimes we might be naively optimistic. So, how to be aware of that, and ask what is possible for us here and now.
I'm so glad you pointed that out, because a dark life, there's this like big sense of like across time and spanning across our whole life, and yet the hope, like you said, can come very small, a pinhole of light. Like just think of that image, it's like tiny, like your mind immediately goes this tiny little spark, and yet she knew she'd find the exit door, and it wasn't this gigantic opportunity or this like thing that the universe just handed her and was like, oh, here you go. It was like a pinhole that she had to crawl through. I'm just looking through the chat now. Yeah, Anna Marie, you said language of possibilities. I see positive thinking, strength, and resilience throughout the poem, Belinda. She will find the exit on her schedule. Oh, so interesting, Daniel, on her schedule. Yeah, and that no one's schedule is the same as anyone else's. Anyone want to add anything else about this poem? The other thing that I will note is that just for like structure. So she had I am, like a few lines of I am, and then she drops it and changes it up throughout. So you can have a poem that every line starts with I am, or you can make it a little bit more of a story. So that's just something to note too. All right, I think we'll go through, yeah, I think maybe we'll just read through one more to give you one last example, and then we'll move into the next part. Okay, so in fact, maybe I will just read through this one. And then if anyone has something to share, we can. But this, I also thought we had a couple women examples. Maybe we should have a man enter the picture here. So this is from Joseph Sember, his I Am poem. He said, I am the proud parent of a son and daughter, and they bring challenges and joy into my life every day. And I'm from an orphanage in Brooklyn, and I always looked upon that as being very special because I was chosen. And from a home filled with love and respect. I'm from a family where I was taught to listen before reacting. I wonder how different my life could have been. I worry how my family will handle the progression of my Parkinson's. I'm from a religious home where we attended Mass every Sunday and had dinner together whenever possible. And from a home where our meals were a blending of Italian and German and American. Do you have a line here that you loved or something that you connect to in this poem by Joseph? I like how oh, go ahead, yeah.
There's a great flow to it. Like there's sort of a beginning, a middle, and not quite an end, but there's a full story.
Yeah, and because it seems that was actually just what I was going to say, so we were on the same page, that each stanza has like just a different moment or a different question. And by doing that, these little tiny pieces, when it's pulled together, you get a sense of his life and his story, even though of course we only know tiny little details, but each stanza sort of, and stanzas are these like little paragraphs, these little sections, each stanza touches on something else, and yet they all feel woven together. Oh yeah, Kelly, you said because I was chosen. Isn't that line so beautiful? And also a reimagining, I think there's this energy, or at least maybe, again, I'm just projecting that you think I'm from an orphanage, maybe that's sad or that's hard, and it could be all of those things, but instead it makes him feel special because he, maybe his original family was not what was meant for him. Instead, he was chosen by a family. That's really beautiful. Tony, were you unmuting yourself? Did you want to say something?
No, I was just saying about the flow, the great flow to it. Yeah. That is very interesting though about the orphanage and how he feels very special that he was the one who was chosen.
Yeah, right.
Very powerful.
Unexpected.
Yeah, and very powerful.
Yeah, and so instead he came from a home filled with love and respect. He got chosen into this beautiful space that nourished him.
It almost looks like he nearly feels guilty for bringing Parkinson's into a family who probably don't have it, or do you know what I mean? It's not part of their DNA as such.
Yeah, that's really interesting too, that he has this sense of like he's carrying not only a burden for himself, but worrying that it will be a burden on those he loves.
Yeah.
I think here the line, I worry how my family will handle the progression of my Parkinson's. I think that is something that we all are concerned about. And I think that it was important that she put that line in somehow. It gave some finality or something to the whole poem.
Yeah, and what's interesting again with the bringing in the Parkinson's, and I think this is true for at least Karen's poem, which was the first one we read, that longer one, and now Joseph's here, is that, and you can do this, but neither of them comes out and says like, I have Parkinson's, or it's just, there's this little story or this little moment that somehow touches it. Karen's was, I'm walking along the beach and like my left leg is now dragging. Or here, he just brings it in by saying, I worry about my family, how they'll handle the progression of my disease. So just interesting ways to weave it in. And I've seen so many poems that people talk about the diagnosis moment, because that's like an inflection point in people's lives. Or so you can do it in any way, and there's nothing wrong with however you want to choose if you choose to weave it in. But just wanted to point that out. All right, so I'm going to move on to the next portion of our workshop so that we have time for everything and you can learn how you can upload your poem and submit a poem. So what we're going to be doing today is a little, let's see if I can make this big again. We're going to do a little writing activity like for 5 minutes or 5 to 7 minutes-ish. And all I'm going to ask if you want to today is we're going to write maybe 3 or 4 lines. So it doesn't have to be a full poem, or 3 or 4 lines can be your full poem. But perhaps if you wanted to add on to it afterwards and then submit it in that way, you can. But I wanted to get us started. And so I'm going to offer 4 different poem prompts, like the starting of a poem. And we'll go through each of them, and then you'll have a few minutes to start just getting ideas down on paper and seeing whatever comes out, and whatever comes out is great. No pressure whatsoever. So the 4 prompts that you perhaps want to begin your poem with are I am from, I am still, I am not, or the last one I'm calling like a metaphor poem. Maybe you want to compare yourself to like I am the ocean, or I am like a tiger, or I am the color red. So that's the 4th option. Again, I'm going to now go through and break down each of these. Of course, I can't get to the, I'm sorry, I don't know what's going on with my Zoom today. Yes, of course, Anna Maria, write yours in Spanish, or if you have anyone else has a different language that they feel most comfortable in, for sure. Oh, Kelly answered that already. Okay, so she took care of it. All right, we're back. So the first option is I am from. And so if you're writing this, again, we're going to do like 3 or 4 lines on your own. You can literally just start with I am from blank space, like I am from, and fill in the blank. It can be as simple as that, and you can come up with a beautiful poem just by repeating that line 3 or 4 times and filling in the blank. And I am from, like we talked about in Karen's poem, could be an actual location. I am from Lexington, Kentucky. I am from, I grew up in a small house with a big backyard. I am from my uncle who taught me this. But it could be like an actual location. It can be a family member. It can be a ritual, something that you shared, whether it's around a holiday or just what's important to your family or your friends. I'm trying to think what other examples. Yeah, childhood activity, all the places that, all the things that shape you. So just to give an example from Karen's again, she used I am from a lot throughout her poem. So she said, I am from mud pies mixed in a bucket, so a childhood activity. We talked about this. I'm from Grandmom Esther's arthritic crooked fingers detangling bird's nest knots from my hair. So she's from a family member who had a profound impact on her. And then she's from something a little more figurative or ethereal. I'm from pieces put back together to make something stronger. Does anyone have any questions about that? About perhaps using I am from and all the things that you are from, whether they are literal or a little bit more figurative? And again, if you have more questions, you can always put them in the chat, or I'll give you a space to ask as we keep going. The other option that I love is, what if you said I am not? So this is an I am poem, and we normally think of in the affirmative. We started with that icebreaker. I am curious, I am hopeful, I am enthusiastic, those sorts of things. But what happens, and if anyone wants to share, what happens when you add the word not? I am not. How does that shift the energy or the feeling of it? I like to think of examples of like, the one that always comes to my mind, maybe this says something about me, like, I am not my father, or I am not what you think I am. It's
very empowering. It's empowering to say what you're not. And it puts the control in your hands. I like that.
Right. It feels bold and declarative and a defining against, and maybe this energy of feeling like people have defined you another way, or but I'm not those things. So here are some other examples of poems that were submitted to PMD Alliance. So this is from a poem from Cookie Cranston. She happened to use I am not. So she said, I am not a widow. I am not destitute, empty, bereft, unmarried, alone, hopeless, or helpless, and left behind. I am not a widow. So there, the assumption might be of what a widow is. And she's arguing, like, maybe people think a widow is empty and alone and helpless. And I am not any of those things. So it's very empowering. And then David had written, I will not be defined by my disease. Oh, sorry, I can't see. and know a cure is coming. I am not lying down for any challenge. So it can be used again to re-articulate, to be very empowering, to say like, no, this is what you think I am, but I am not that. And this is what I actually am. So again, you can start your poem with 3 lines of I am not, I am not, I am not, and fill in the blank and sort of see where that takes you. Just looking at the chat for a moment. Yeah, defiant, Daniel said, I am not weak. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so the next option is saying I am still. So this had emerged out of, again, another like workshop I had led for this poem. And I was asking people, what else can you say? And someone had said, I am still. And I thought, oh yeah, I hadn't thought of that, because I feel like it captures a sense of grief or loss, or when things change, that you could feel like you're having to mourn so much, whatever it might be. But I am still reminds you that you can reclaim, like reclaim parts of yourself. You are still whole, you are still whatever it might be. And so I think it's very powerful in its own way. And so Carol, on an I Am poem she titled Grief on a Continuum, she says, I am still the nurse who worked a lifetime caring for patients, family, and the love of my life. So even though so much has shifted over time, she's still a nurse who cares and is compassionate. And so again, this prompt would be perhaps starting with I am still, and you can repeat that line 3 times or however you see fit. I am still. I'm just going to jump to the next one so that we have time also to play and write for about 5 minutes. So the last one is what I'm calling our I am metaphor poem. So maybe you want to take an object, an idea, a color, something, and use that to help you express who you are. So examples that I put up top, you could say, I am a tiger, I am the color red, I'm the color blue, you can pick a different color, I'm an ocean, I am a garden, and see what emerges. So again, Cookie Cranston had written an I Am poem, we looked at her some moment ago, and she said, I am a summer day, I am warmth, I am the sunshine, an endearing nickname from my dad who always called me sunshine. I'm a summer day feeling responsible to always be the sunshine for others. My sunshine does not come from the sky, it comes from within. And so by using summer day as her metaphor, she was able to express all of these parts of herself based on what a summer day does, warmth and providing for others and not coming from the sky, but the heat and the warmth of a summer day, it comes from the sun, it comes from within. Another example, I'm a tiger. I'm from a fierce protective mother. My body is marked by stripes and scars. So again, you can pick any sort of object that you want there. It doesn't have to be an object, it can be an idea. So with that, I'm gonna actually put this on play. So this is bigger and everyone can see. What I'm gonna invite you to do now is we're gonna take, let's take about 6 minutes. That will get us to depending what time zone you're on, the 50 of the hour, and pick a prompt and maybe just write 3 lines. Maybe repeat the prompt and give yourself a little fill in the blank line and see what comes out. This doesn't have to be perfect. What I love as a writer is just let it come out onto the page and don't judge it. And then maybe we'll have a couple moments if anyone wants to share, but go forth and take a few minutes quietly to dive in. Thanks, Deborah. So we'll just take another couple minutes here. If you finished your few lines, great. If you don't, that's okay too. This is just a jumping off point, so we'll take another couple minutes. So this will be my call. Just take another couple of seconds to finish up whatever it is that you're writing at the moment. And again, this is something that you can pick up again, and hopefully Kelly's going to guide you through how to submit a poem so you can submit these few lines or build them out more and then submit. I'm going to stop sharing my screen so I can finally see you all again. So we have a couple of minutes left, and I know Kelly got to make sure you've got time to go through your thing. Does anyone though want to share either something that they wrote or just the experience, what it felt like to write this for yourself, but to express who you are? Yeah, go for it.
I did it in English, but okay, let's see. I come from the Andes Mountains of Peru and encountered the Irish hills of County Galway through Ray. Raycito, I call him. And now we have been living with Mr. PD for the last 11 years and a half. Ray says we are the Celtincas family, so I agree. I come from the Andes Mountains of Peru. And also love the cold Pacific Ocean. Mr. Parkinson has changed our lives. And then I have learned to stretch my body and to rewind. Stretch and rewind to keep adapting,
Oh, that was beautiful. Oh my gosh, you did so much in a few minutes. I love the repetition, the Andes Mountains being repeated, the stretch and rewind, that last line. And I liked how you personified, so made Parkinson's into like a person and took on Mr. Parkinson's. Thank you for sharing. Does anyone want to respond to what Ana Maria said, or to share something else of their own? I see in the chat, although iPhone 7, is it okay that I share? I think it was sent just to me, but I am still the perfect being you wanted me to be. I've been torn from the tropical breeze through the Alps and tossed to reality. I refuse to accept how Parkinson's wants to define me. I'm open to new possibilities. I am what I am. I love that. I am what I am. And that's, I feel like, from a spiritual tradition as well, and that sense of defiance. I refuse to accept how Parkinson's wants to define me. I see Denise has to leave. Bye, Denise. I
have one that was not written by me, but was sent. I am from Tropical Beach Pictures, pictures with ancient structures, handwritten letters, Polaroid cameras, and 35mm film cameras. I am from those moments of waiting for the pictures to develop and waiting to receive letters from my grandparents. These moments are special to me.
Oh, that's so great. And then we talked about before, like just dropping into the vivid imagery. And can you remember like waiting for pictures to develop? I know we're now in the iPhone generation, but that experience and sending them through the mail. Thank you. Belinda wrote, I'm a fighter. Sometimes I give up. I'm a believer. Sometimes I lose hope. I'm confident I will bounce back. I'm building my resilience. I love those contradictions because that's how we exist as humans, through the contradictions. Julia, is it okay if I share your, oh, I think we might have just looked at that one. Yes, so Julia, that's what, and then the last one, Tony, I am from quiet. I am not broken. I am stoic. I am a bear. I am still me. And I love, Tony, how you used multiple of the prompts and you sort of pulled them all together into one poem, and that we can see between like Belinda and Tony and all of these, they're short, but they're full poems in themselves and speak so loudly. So I hope you all keep writing. I'm going to be checking out the gallery so I can see what you've created, but Kelly, I'm sorry, you have 7 minutes in which to finish up here. But thank you.
I think I probably only need a couple minutes, so.
Okay, good.
I will just do this quickly. I'll screen share here and show you guys where you can submit the poems online. All right. So you can get to the website to submit from a couple different avenues, but today I'll show you. If you go to the World Parkinson Coalition website, then from there, you'll go over to our work. And under that is a drop down for the I Am Poem project. And that'll take you to this lovely page here. So once you scroll down, there's a little bit more information about the project and kind of the stuff we talked over today. So it's also a good refresher if you're like, what? I know they mentioned this, but so all the information you can be found here. And then, so there's a couple of links that I'll go over. This first link here just is a link to the I Am Poem project on the PMD Alliance website. And then if you scroll down a little bit further, we've got this link here, which is a link to the gallery, which I put in the chat a little bit earlier, so you can see other previously submitted I Am poems just for inspiration or to read and just kind of see what other people have submitted. And then scroll on down a little bit further, and there's a link here to submit your poem. So if you click on that, then it's going to take you to this form. And again, a little bit more information about how the poems are being used and the partnership between the organizations. And then it's simply just fill in your information. So your name, email, location, poem title. And then this is where it gets kind of fun. You can choose your method of submitting your poem. So if you want to upload a picture of your poem, maybe you hand wrote the poem and maybe you like your handwriting, or you drew, some pictures or imagery around the poem, you can always take a picture of it. And then you would just click the upload image and you could upload that image. Or if you wanted to read your poem out loud and submit it, there's an option to click and record an audio of you reading your poem. Or the third option then is that you can simply just enter your poem, retype it right here into the forum. And then whichever of the three you pick. It can be a couple of those. If you want to upload an image and then also type it, you can do that. And then you would just click submit, and that would get your poem submitted. So I'll put the original link in the chat as well, but I think that's the short of it. If anyone has any questions, let me know.
And I just want to thank everyone for joining and participating. I know it sometimes takes a lot of courage to share what you're feeling or what you've written. And so I'm just really grateful. Again, this is not about me, but I feel nourished by each of you. So thank you.
I'll just echo a thank you to everyone. This has been really fun for me. I've got my own poems. I'm going to submit something. Don't, be kind to me when you see it, but it's going to be there. I've got like 4 things written down here. I've been jotting them down throughout the whole time. It's really been fun to be a part of this. And it's just great to take a pause sometimes in life and just give yourselves a break from all the other crazy stuff you feel like you have to do. So this is like an hour of Zen with some great creative juices flowing. So thank you. Thanks to PMD Alliance. Thanks to Ashley for guiding us. It's been really wonderful. And I'm really great to see all of you. And I know a few of you had to drop out. A few of our friends had to drop out because they had other appointments going on, but they did message me and say, I'm going to submit something. I'll definitely submit something. So I think everyone got something out of this hour, which is really wonderful. Thanks.
And Eli and Julie, I can't wait to see what your whole team does with this and how the garden comes together. It's very exciting.
It's going to be beautiful.
Yeah, I agree with Eli. It's been a great time here.
Thanks, Prab. It's great to see you.
Yeah, I'm positive that I'll submit something. I used to equalize myself as an elephant who has a flu, caught with the flu, and then you don't try to put the elephant with the other house, another. So yeah, I would definitely add something.
That's
Thank
great.
you.
Thanks, Prab.
Question that was answered, yes, you can submit more than one poem. Also, there were several links that were put in the chat. So if you do want to save your chat, if you click on the 3 dots next to the little smiley face, that's how you can save your chat. That'll provide you with the links and everything for the World Parkinson Congress, for the Tulip Coalition, the Tulip Project, and anything else you just maybe got out of the chat. As always, at PMD Alliance, we do our wave of gratitude. We're so grateful everybody could join us today. Thank you, Eli. Thank you, Julie. Thank you, Ashley, for joining us. And everybody have a wonderful day and a good weekend.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye. Ciao.
Bye.